Hello and welcome to this podcast. This is the first podcast on the Kop Council channel. If you do like these podcasts, make sure to like and subscribe if you do like daily Liverpool content and podcasts. Today we're going to be talking practically about Liverpool, about some news about the clubs, the Community Shield, and our main topic is Oxlade-Chamberlain, the key for Liverpool this season. I am joined on this podcast by my good friend Mickey. How are you, mate?
I'm fantastic, thank you. A little bit croaky voice after yesterday's Charity Shield.
It was a very, very good game. Obviously, Mickey did go to the game. How was the atmosphere at Wembley?
It was fantastic. Liverpool fans sang the whole match, even after defeat, sang on the way out. So, to be honest, it was a great match. I feel we edged the game. We were a bit unlucky not to win, but penalty shootouts are a lottery, aren't they, mate?
Yeah, it was so cruel how we won yesterday. Obviously, the game was one of the best that we've seen so far this pre-season, if you want to call the Community Shield pre-season. But yeah, it was just a cruel way to lose after that performance. But moving on, this is the first podcast on the channel. If you do like it, like I said, please subscribe and give it a like and comment on how we can improve things, or leave a question for next week's podcast if we do one. So, latest Liverpool news. Obviously, today we are recording this on the 5th of August, and yesterday, after the Community Shield, we had a little bit of news. Simon Mignolet has left Liverpool for 6.8 million for Club Bruges. Obviously, that is in his native country of Belgium. He's gone out there to be closer to family, is reported, and has been replaced by Adrian, former West Ham goalkeeper, on a 2-year contract, but an option for a 3rd year. So that is very interesting. What's your thoughts on that, mate?
Well, I think it's a great bit of business from the club. We knew Mignolet didn't want to stay in number two. We didn't really want to sell him to another Premier League club. He's found a club. He's happy to go there. We're getting £6 million, and we've got a free transfer in, who, in my opinion, is just as good, if not better, than Mignolet. Many people may disagree with that, but I do feel Adrian is a really, really good keeper, and I think he'll do well as a backup.
Yeah, that is the thing in it. It's like you're not going to beat Alisson to a first team place, but he's a very good second choice goalkeeper. Obviously, he was at West Ham, I think, as far as last season, and then got released this summer. But it was reported that Liverpool had him on a short list for backups for Mignolet if we was to sell him. It was kind of out of the blue, if you would agree.
Well, at one point, at the start of the close season, it was reported. Then we got reports that Mignolet's happy to stay number two, and like you said, it's a bit like to me. It was like when it was a shock. It was like, whoa, where's that come from? Why is that happening now? But to be honest, it soon come out that we were going to get Adrian. But I think we've been linked with Adrian for a couple of years. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I think it was. I think maybe if my knowledge is to be believed correct, I think it was when we signed Loris Karius, and there was talks of maybe Mignolet leaving then, and that was back maybe 2 years ago, and us maybe signing Adrian, which he, like, for me personally, I think the Mignolet deal was so out the blue. It was like Fabinho last year, where we didn't know anything, and then bam, everything's happening at once. So it's kind of like a rush to the head, if you want to use it like that. But 6.8 million, the rumored fee is. Apparently, it could get raised to 8.4. What's your thoughts on the actual price that we've sold him for?
I'm quite happy with it, to be honest. I don't think he's worth much more than that. I mean, that's close to what we paid for him, is it not? I think we paid 7 million for him.
Yeah, it was that back in 2013.
Yes. He's not been, you know, the greatest goalkeeper we've ever had, but he's not been the worst. And I could think of a few other names worse, but I'm not going to mention them now because it's not the right time or place. But I've always been thinking he's never going to be a number one for Liverpool again. Once Carriers took his place, and obviously he knew once Alisson was there, there was never no way he was ever going to get back in as number one unless Alisson was injured. I think 6.8 million is, especially from a Belgian club, because they're not exactly, you know, full of cash, are they? I mean, that's a lot of money for a Belgian club.
Yeah, it is, to be fair.
And if he hits the contract clauses, like you said, it could raise to 8 million. It's if we've got a keeper in for free, and from what I'm hearing, he's on less wages as well as Mignolet, because Mignolet was on quite high wages.
Yeah, that is very true.
So the club are sort of, to me, I feel this close season we're manoeuvring finances to finance a big signing for next season. It looks that way, whether that's true or not. But that's my thought on it all. Is we are selling quite a few players and not replacing them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like if you look at so far this season's signings, was Seb Vanderberg for 1.7 million, a guy for the future. Then you got Harvey Elliott for free, and now you've got Adrian for free. I do agree with you that I think in the sense of it all, Klopp may be thinking of a huge signing next year. Maybe Mbappe 2020. Maybe. I don't want to curse that yet, but
This could become another Fakir, couldn't it? The Mbappe 2020.
maybe.
I've got looking at how we're doing things and how things are manoeuvred. The players he probably wants to improve the side probably aren't available this season. So what he's doing is, let's look at the squad, let's trim it, let's save some money, let's have a look, because he's going to cost us more money next season. This guy I want, but he's available next season. That's probably what I'm gathering and thinking of, because I really don't believe that Klopp at the start of the pre-season thought we're going to go into this season without signing any major players. And he probably has this player in mind, probably went in for him and got told, look, not this season, come back next season. This is how much we're going to want. So he's obviously gone back and had a look at it. That's what I'm gathering. It could be, I could be totally wrong, but in my mind, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it is a very logical way of thinking. I think that maybe you are right, and Klopp maybe has gone in for a certain player, and he's gone, well, how much will it cost me now? And they've gone so and so much, and then you've gone, nah, it's a bit too much for Liverpool, and maybe next season he might not be so expensive. But I think as far as this season goes, I think Klopp already put it as it was. I think he said, if there's an injury, then we'll look. But if there isn't one before the start of the season, then we won't bother. And plus, you got to remember, we have January to buy someone if we really need someone. It's not like if this is the one and only transfer window for the season. So you got to kind of look at that in a sense. But for going back onto the Mignolet thing, for me, 6 million just seems a bit low. But then it is, for a 30-year-old goalkeeper, that is maybe the price for a 30-year-old goalkeeper. And like you said, the Belgium league doesn't have as much money as, like, say, Italy or Spain and like us. So yeah, maybe that is the right price for Simon Mignolet. But moving swiftly on from the news, because that's practically all the news for Liverpool. Realistically, we haven't got no signings out currently. no one going out. So yeah, that's practically it for the news. That's about it. So now we're going to talk about the Community Shield. Obviously, yesterday Liverpool played at Anfield South at Wembley, and unfortunately, we didn't win. We drew, and then we lost on penalties. But there was plenty of positives to take from that game, wouldn't you say, Mickey?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, yesterday I seen our beloved team outplaying one of the best teams in the world. Fair play, they wasn't at full strength. There was a couple, but they only had a couple of players missing. Yeah, but to be fair, we outplayed a really, really good side. The positives were there. We went 1-0 down, possibly a mistake by Allison, but you can see these things happen. I believe he should have saved it, but I'm being ultra critical there. But yeah, definitely more positives than negatives. And if you think about it, the way they picked themselves up and then took control of the game in the second half, I was so impressed. And we were cutting through them like butter at one point.
Yeah, I think like we talked a bit off the stream, and we said, well, not the stream, sorry, the podcast, and we said that the first 20 minutes we looked a bit all over the place in midfield and defence, but then after that we just looked a completely world-beaten team, practically what Liverpool have been under Jurgen Klopp, a world-beaten team, and we were missing Sadio Mane, they were missing one or two players, but it was just two good teams going one-on-one. And if that is what this season is going to be like, then we can look for an exciting season. The same is practically like that. But one guy I want to talk about is Mohamed Salah. Now, he's had 1 week of training and he looked a world beater yesterday. And obviously, he was at the game. So, what did he look like to you?
Mate, he was fantastic. And, I remember saying to you like earlier that, if he'd have had a couple of more weeks under his belt, a bit of the rust would have gone out. He seemed a bit rusty on his finishing at first, but then again, he had a couple of saves. He started getting into the game. He's hit the post a couple of times. He was well above our best player, miles above anybody else on that pitch. He was dangerous every time he got the ball, and honestly, how he didn't score is beyond me. And he was unlucky. Some of the times he did take the selfish approach, and I know a lot of people are moaning about that. But to me, if he scores 45 goals this season being selfish, then I'm happy. It's strikers have to be selfish sometimes. And to be fair, he was close a few times and unlucky, and it took a world class clearance off the line, probably the best I've ever seen. Yeah, bicycle overhead kick to stop Mohamed Salah from getting on the score sheet, to be honest, and winning the game for us. I really truly believe a couple more weeks under his belt and he's going to be phenomenal. I feel sorry for Norwich this Friday, to be honest. I think he'll score a few against them.
Yeah, like you said, that clearance by Kyle Walker was out of this world class defending, to be fair. But yeah, I agree with you. Like Norwich is gonna be a tasty affair, I think, for Mo Salah. I think that he can easily score maybe two or even a hat trick against them. And if he plays like he did against Man City yesterday, then he is going to be on fire this season. And my early prediction is he's going to score 30 league goals this season. I think he's going to be that good this season that he's just going to score every game that he has the chance. But one guy we didn't have yesterday was Sadio Mane. Obviously today, as we're recording this, he has come back from his holidays after the African Cup of Nations, and he will begin pre-season. I think it's today, but not quite sure. So that was obviously a missing factor. So take that into consideration. Liverpool are going to be so much on fire this season, aren't they, mate?
Well, yeah, I mean, Origi did a good job playing the Sadio Mane role. Sometimes he did slow the game down a little bit where Mane speeds it up, but sometimes you have to have that in your locker. You have to have a bit of difference. So I'm quite happy as long as 2 out of the 3 are playing. I think it'll be okay this season because I wouldn't want all 3 of them to go the whole season playing every game because it would be just too much for them. Especially we're going to have a lot more games this season, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're playing in 8 competitions this season. So that is just, well, we're playing for 8 trophies at least anyway this season. And like you said, they can't play all the games. I did think the one person yesterday that was on fire. Well, he wasn't on fire, but he looked really, really sharp. Was Bobby Firmino and, to be fair, Naby Keita. Both of them obviously returned last week, the same time as Mo. So, what was your thoughts on Naby and Bobby?
Well, Bobby just played the game Bobby plays, isn't he? He's good at the defensive work. He's good at bringing players into the play. You know what I mean? He put a beautiful ball through for Mo Salah, didn't he, in the first half? He's a class player and he makes a lot of things we do tick. As much as Mo Salah is Mo Salah's like the prince, isn't he? The one that wears the gold.
Yeah.
Bobby Firmino's like the bloke that digs the coal. You know what I mean? In the
Yeah.
spotlight at night, he digs the coal and finds the gold to put on Mo Salah, if you know what I'm saying. He's very important on that. And on Naby Keita, I was as from history, I weren't impressed with him last season, and I feel that this is a make or break season for him. He has to come good. From what I've seen from him at Red Bull, he was a fantastic player, but he's never really been anywhere near that kind of form for Liverpool. Now, it could be a learning process. I do know that he did struggle with English, but now his English is a lot better. But yesterday he came on. He looked pretty dangerous yesterday. He did a few runs, it scared the back 4 of Man City. So, I'm quite impressed with how Naby Keita come on and took the game to him. Let's just hope that's a different dimension to his game this season. Because we've seen a lot of the defensive work from him last season. We didn't see really much going forward, did we? So,
Yeah, I think maybe before he even come into the club, I think he was kind of a little bit misjudged. I think a lot of people thought he'd be like a Phil Coutinho like type of player, like on the edge of the midfield going into attack. But he, for me, I think last season before he got injured, he was starting to come into his stride. Like, I know you're not the biggest fan of Naby Keita last season, but for me, like, Naby Keita is, I wouldn't say the complete package of a midfielder, but he is a very, very good midfielder. And if you watch the Huddersfield game last season at Anfield and you watch the Bayern Munich game at home, he was just so brilliant on those days. And he does need, I would agree, he needs to be more consistent. But yesterday, he come on and he literally was brilliant. And that is good positive signs for the season ahead. So, going on to the actual result, we did lose on penalties. Gini Wijnaldum missed the penalty for Liverpool, and everyone overreacting about it needs to shut up. Now, we're saying this now because, like, we're just saying it, but everybody makes mistakes, and Gini Wijnaldum is not different to that. No one is. But I thought Gini even played a good game yesterday. I think a lot of people, after he missed that penalty, didn't really take that into consideration. But to you, did he look like Gini Wijnaldum of last season?
well, I thought he played a decent game, and to be honest, he didn't miss the penalty, did he? He got saved.
Yeah.
This happens in penalty shootouts. People have got to get this in their head. Penalty shootouts are a lottery. You could have you could have 10 different penalty shootouts with the same players taking the penalties, and you could have many different results.
Yeah.
It's just one of them things, and to be fair, their penalties they had it was at the Liverpool end, and we were like booing, we were really loud, and we were waving, and to be fair, they kept the calm. I mean, and Genie, I don't see anything wrong. It might have been a bit weak, the penalty, but at the end of the day, when you're up on that spot and once you hit that ball towards it, it's pot luck. If the goalkeeper saves it, it's better than him missing it. So I don't understand all the, let's blame Genie. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if you want to blame somebody, you need to blame the whole team for not winning it in 90 minutes.
Exactly. I 100% agree with that. Absolutely. I think that there was plenty of chances. Like we were talking earlier on, and we were saying Liverpool hit the bar 4 times, and they had about like 6 chances in the last 5 minutes. There was chances there to end the game there and then, not taking the penalties. So a little bit of lack of composure, maybe. But then we did hit the bar 4 times, so we can't really worsen him that. But for you, who was your man of the match yesterday?
Mohamed Salah by a mile for me. While I'm saying my man of the match, but one thing I've got to mention: Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk look the perfect partnership. So it would have been. I thought Joe Gomez was amazing as well. He would have been, if Mohamed Salah hadn't have performed, it would have been Joe Gomez next. But Mohamed Salah.
Yeah, I do agree with that. It's that partnership in it from last season where I wonder how many goals we would have actually conceded if he hadn't got injured against Burnley. Like, would we have seen, like, because yesterday they were very solid, and even when Matip come on, that defense looked really, really solid. So for me, I'm gonna go with not Joe Matip, sorry, Joe Gomez as my man of the match. I think that for me, Matip hasn't done anything wrong, but for me, I want to see Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk as my centre back partnership for not the Norwich game. I don't know if you're the same about that, but yeah, that's my thoughts anyway.
Yes, I totally agree. I'd like us to start with Gomez. The only thing I feel Matip does better than Gomez is Matip is a threat in the opposition box more than Gomez is.
Yeah, he does like to thrive through midfield and then into attack. We've seen that plenty of times.
And he scores as well.
Yeah, that's
He's
true. Obviously,
dangerous.
he did score yesterday, obviously. But yeah, I would like to see the Matip and not Matip, sorry, Gomez and Van Dijk as the centre back partnership. Well, speaking about Norwich, Norwich is in 4 days' time. Yes, it's in 4 days' time as we are recording. So we're gonna a little bit move away from the Community Shield and talk about that game. Who would be your starting 11 for the Norwich game?
Oh God, now you've hit me now. So it would definitely be Allison in goal, without a shadow of a doubt. I'd start with Trent, Gomez, Van Dijk, Robertson. That picks itself. I would definitely start with Henderson, Fabinho, and I would play Milner over Wijnaldum. And it's nothing to do with what happened yesterday or whatever. I just feel opening game of the season, Milner offers a little bit more than Wijnaldum. And then up front, I would play Origi, Firmino, and Salah. I know Mane's back. I wouldn't risk him, but I have a feeling Klopp may play Mane. But that's just my 11.
Yeah, he could do that. That's one of the things in it. It's like, does he start Mane or doesn't he? For me, I'm going to go with the same back five as you. I think that pretty much picks itself, like what you said. My midfield, though, would be Fabinho, Keita, and Henderson. So I'd put Keita in front of Milner and Gini Wijnaldum. Because I think after after he come on yesterday, I think maybe he might be good to break through that Norwich defence. Because when you think about it, Norwich are most likely going to be on the counter attack. They're going to sit back and they're going to want to hit us on the break. But I think Naby Keita for me, and then am I going to pick Mane? No, I'm not going to pick Mane. So it's going to be Origi, Firmino, and Salah. I think that automatically picks itself without Sadio Mane being there. So yeah, that's my starting 11, and that's Mickey's starting 11. So let us know in the comments below who you'd like in your midfield and even your starting 11. Just let us know. So we're going to talk now about the main topic of the podcast. Is Oxlade-Chamberlain the key for Liverpool this season? Now, obviously, he was out for 10 months last season. We only seen him once or twice play last season. He's obviously had a full pre-season. I think he did have a little bit of an injury, but it was only like a slight one. I think with his hamstring, I think it was, on the US tour. But apart from that, he's had a full pre-season and he looked sharp yesterday, but in pre-season he's been playing on the wing, which he didn't kind of look good in my opinion, but that might just be the travel. But in your opinion, Mickey, is he the key for Liverpool this season?
Well, he offers something different to the other midfielders, and he offers goals. You know, many people go on about our midfielders. We don't score enough goals from midfield. The season before he got injured, he was starting to get goals and important ones as well. And he was making those beautiful forward runs that Mickey Thomas used to make for us in the early 90s.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people always remember Mickey Thomas for the Arsenal goal against us, but I remember him playing for us, and he was quite integral to us winning the 1992 FA Cup. So, and he made those beautiful runs, and I think Oxlade-Chamberlain just made, especially I think twice against Man City last season, made them lovely runs and then beautiful shots from outside the box. I think he just offers something different that we haven't got, and you know, I don't think he's going to play every game, especially at the start. I think he struggled in pre-season with the pre-season training because he's been out for a year. And he's even admitted that it was tougher than what he thought. I think Klopp's really worked him hard this close season. Maybe that had an effect on some of the games we've had, that they were tired. They were doing double training sessions just before the games or up into them. So I feel come the turn of the year, Oxlade-Chamberlain may be the man we play just behind the front three. You know, for the running, it's something different.
He like, it would be nice to see him back in, not last season, the season before, where he was before he got injured, like fully kind of like that advanced midfielder like role where you can just like run with the ball and then connect with Mo Salah or Bobby Firmino. But I think in that season where Mo scored 44 goals, I think the player that provided him with the ball the most was Oxlade-Chamberlain. So if he can replicate that, for me, he can be a deadly weapon this season. But I know they had sessions, like double sessions, like you said, in pre-season, but I don't want Oxlade-Chamberlain on the wing. I want him in midfield. I want him central, because I think that is where he can be most deadliest. I don't know, is that your same opinion? You want him in midfield, or don't you mind him on the wing?
Well, to be honest, when he originally hit the scene at Southampton and then at Arsenal, he was a winger, wasn't he? And Arsenal even used him as a wing back.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I think his natural position is out wide. We all know Klopp doesn't like you to be specialists at any position. He likes you to be versatile. Perhaps the wing play is Klopp getting him a bit more versatile again, so he can swap it around a bit more. So instead of bringing Chamberlain on for a midfielder, he could bring him on to replace one of the front three. I think that's probably in his thinking as well. So there's more ways than one that Chamberlain can be important to the side. I think Chamberlain can play many numerous roles for Liverpool next season, on the wing, up front, in that midfield. Sitting in front of the diamond, the forward thinking player, because we know Henderson can sit back.
Yeah.
I know he's playing a more direct role now than he was last season, but there's always a chance to get Henderson in the team again. He's moving back to the number 6 role and let be the defensive midfielder and move Chamberlain into Henderson's role. There's many numerous things we can do, but there's a lot more to Chamberlain's game. Once he's fully fit and all the rust gone, he's a dangerous player, a very dangerous player. And I think he was in the form of his life before he got injured. And we missed him in the final against Real Madrid. There's a lot to say about it. I mean, when we beat Man City 4-1, he was integral to that game.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's an interesting thing when you said that he's one that provided Mo Salah with a lot more assists. I believe Liverpool had to adapt a little bit more last year. Mo Salah provided more assists than the season before towards Sadio Mane. So perhaps there is something in that.
Yeah, well, I think it was in 17-18 where Ox provided most. I think Mo, well, he scored 32 goals in the league, and I think it was 8 assists. And then last season it was was it 22? And then he had 10. Yeah, 22 and 10 assists. So I do agree with you in the sense where Liverpool probably had to adapt last season in maybe that having the midfield of Fabinho, Milner, and Henderson. Maybe they did have to have Mo creating a lot more than what he did instead of finishing. But yeah, I think there is something to that. I think maybe I can't remember the number of assists that he did have. I think it was about 6 or 7 assists towards Mo. So I think that side of the pitch could be deadly this season. But literally, I think that overall having Ox back, I know using that term new signing, but he is going to feel like a new signing in the team where we didn't have him for a year, and he can be so deadly when fully fit. And I agree with you in the sense that he's not going to be fully fit yet. He's been out for a year. So he needs to get to that match fitness and back to that form that he was providing for this team. But yeah, let us know in the comments below if you think Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain will be the key this season. But keeping in the topic, which player do you think is going to be the key for Liverpool this season?
Oh God! So, I'm a great believer in teamwork. But to me, it all starts from at the very first player you choose at number 1. And to me, Alisson, he was the difference last season. He made a difference of 30 points from the season before. A good goalkeeper instills confidence in the rest of the team, especially the back four. So, I think you need a good spine. I think the spine of Alisson, Van Dijk, Fabinho, and Salah, with that spine, the rest of it all comes into place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But to me, Alisson is the most important player at Liverpool, because he's the one that, if someone gets through one-on-one with him, as we seen yesterday, they're not going to get past him.
No, I think
Or
that's very
rarely
true.
get past. I'm not going to say he's going to save every goal, because it's impossibility. but you have every confidence in a 50-50 chance that he's more likely going to win it.
Yeah, and I think that I totally agree with you, and I think that Alisson is definitely in the bracket of like best goalkeeper in the world. Obviously, yes, yesterday he might have been able to do something better with City's goal, but he is the real deal. And I agree with you. I think if you look at the squad and you go, which player got injured? I think there's two people in the squad where you look at and it's like, if they got injured, it would look a little bit worrying. And I think that's Alisson and Virgil van Dijk. I think because
I think we could
Van
probably
Dijk.
cope with Virgil van Dijk now. I think.
Do you?
Yeah, I honestly do. I think Matic could do Virgil van Dijk's role alongside Gomez. Do you know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
I I personally believe. Well, we've just signed Adrian now, so it's if it had been Mignolet, then if Alisson got injured, it would have been big trouble. But I still think, as good as Adrian is, the drop down from Alisson to Adrian is massive. It is massive. It's too
Yeah,
big.
it is. It is massive. But then I think if you look in that Alisson caliber, you can end up paying extreme money for a goalkeeper. And you think about it, we got him for free. So it is one of those things in it. But I think it's very rare as well for a goalkeeper to go in, get injured.
It is rare, and you know, thank God for that. But I mean, talking about the topic and the rest of the team, and we're on about Oxlade-Chamberlain. Maybe Oxlade-Chamberlain is the reason we're not going in for Bruno Fernandes. We're thinking, well, we can pay 70 million for a player that's similar to Bruno Fernandes, a goal-scoring midfielder.
Yeah.
I think that. I personally think that's probably one of the reasons why we're not going to spend 70 million on Bruno. As much as I would love Bruno Fernandes at Liverpool, if Chamberlain can come up with 15 goals, then it's money well saved.
Yeah, definitely. I think going back to the conversation we had about waiting for that transfer, I think obviously Bruno Fernandes has been linked with a move to Manchester United and Spurs. I think if he doesn't sign for any of those teams before the transfer window shuts, I got a feeling, just a weird feeling that if Liverpool are interested in him at all, which no one has confirmed or not confirmed at all, I think that Klopp might want him. I think he may look at it because you think about it, the two main systems that we have is the 4-3-3 and the 4-2-3-1, and he can play in both of those systems. So I think that is a massive thing. But it's like what we said, paying £70 million when we have like an Oxlade-Chamberlain. I don't think Klopp would ever do that. I don't think Liverpool would ever do that, even if Klopp wasn't there. But it's one of these things, isn't it? It's like at the minute our midfield, I'm happy with our midfield as it is. I'm happy with who we've got and like I think going back to what I said about January, if Klopp looks at it and goes, okay, we need one or two signings, then he'll make those signings. He did it with Virgil van Dijk. But with Klopp as well, he needs to find the right signing. It's not he's going to pick the second best or the third best. He will pick who he wants. Like he waited for Alisson, he waited for Virgil van Dijk, he waited for Naby Keita. Klopp has an idea, and this club has an idea for the future. Do you agree with that, mate?
Most definitely, he definitely has. Klopp doesn't just plan for this season. Klopp plans for the next 5 years, and when you hear him speak this close season, he's going like, "Look, listen, we're tying our good players down to 5-year contracts." Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a success that we're keeping this side together because this side will grow together. Yeah, I mean the Harvey Elliott one for me was out of the blue because that was never mentioned until close season, was it? We never knew anything about that, everyone knew about Harvey Elliott last season. Mate was the youngest player to make his debut for Fulham, but no one no one knew he was up. He was up for a free transfer. No one knew he was a Liverpool fan, which is what has come out since. And I've been really impressed with him. In the Leon game, he went round 3 or 4 players.
Yeah.
He looks a proper good player. And to think he's the same age as my son. I'm just, I'm thinking, what's going on here? So what's the plans for him? Is he another one that Klopp's looked at and thought, I can go out and I can buy that midfielder for 80 million, or I can buy this lad who's free and turn him into him in 3 years' time. And Klopp has got a track record at Dortmund of doing this.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But at Dortmund, it was more forced on him because of the finances of Dortmund compared to the finances of Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
But the problem for him at Dortmund was, once he'd made these players, Bayern Munich just brought him. That was happened to him at Liverpool.
No. Well, no, Liverpool now are the Finnish article. Like, I think this is the mindset what Klopp has had. He's like, this is like a club where you want to finish your career, not jump it for like one of the big Spanish teams like what Coutinho and I wouldn't say Xavi Alonso, but yeah, move into like a Real Madrid or Barcelona. Like Liverpool wants to be the final destination. Then, if you want to put
it, could Klopp build a legacy where people look at Liverpool above them? You know what I mean? The finances are being sorted out. We're closing the gap on Man United in England. Could we close the gap on it? It depends on this new kit deal. If this new kit deal is a world record, then we're on our way. I read an interesting article the other day that Liverpool's finances, we've closed the gap on Man United by 55%.
It's mental.
In 3 years. 3 years, and it's still gathering momentum. And obviously, the more successful we are, the more it brings in revenue.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
I can't remember what year it was, but it was a year Adidas didn't renew the kit deal with us because they said we weren't worth the money.
2012.
2000. They actually said, they quoted that we won't do. They're now dying to get a kit deal with Liverpool.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to go with Adidas. Simple for the fact that Adidas have muddied the water with us. My personal opinion is I really do feel it's going to be Nike. But if New Balance can match Nike, I think we'll stay.
Yeah, I think that, me personally, I don't want Nike. I think Nike kits are kind of copy and paste, but then it's all about the money in it, really. Like, people don't. The club kind of cares about the kits and like that, but then it's just about the money. But I agree with you. If New Balance offer the exact same, well, apparently the rumor is New Balance have the final say. If they can match what Nike or Adidas bring to the table, then I think Liverpool might stay with New Balance.
Oh, apparently they are going to give New Balance the chance to match them. They're not just going to go yes straight away. They're going to give because New Balance is a Boston company.
Yeah.
And they did a lot of stuff with the Boston Red Sox, with FSG as well. FSG have got a good relationship with them, but FSG will go to them and say, look, Nike have offered us a world record deal. Can you match it? I really would like you to match it. You are our chosen one, but we need the money. Look at your sales that we've made from we've made you a bigger company from the sales of these football shirts and the kits and the boots and the trainers. You know what I mean? We've made you a household name in Europe now, New Balance, which in America they've always been big, but in Europe they're relatively unknown.
Well, yeah, you look at it. The last 3 years, our kits have been sold out constantly because of New Balance, because they are such nice kits. I think ever since they have come in from, I think, Warrior, after that deal broke down, I think that they've been brilliant. I think literally all the kits have been nice. Maybe one or two have been horrible, but like the majority of them have been nice, and like the range is good. So for me personally, I would stick with New Balance, and like you said, it'd be good for Liverpool because they're a Boston company and the owners are from Boston and that. And yeah, for me, it would be perfect all round instead of Nike or Adidas. To be fair,
You see, personally, I'm not bothered who gets a kit deal. They need to offer us the dollar. We're worth it now. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? If we get, to me, it's a sacrifice I'm willing to take. If Nike offer us world record deal, I'll wear a Nike kit because I'm a Liverpool fan. I'll go out and buy the new top. Yeah.
yeah,
What matters to me is the liver bird on it. Although the New Balance kits have been great, some of them have been crap. There's always going to be somebody not happy with whatever kit we get. Yeah. There's always
yeah.
going to
That's
be
true.
somebody not happy. Um, I I personally believe if at the moment I think if you were going to put a bet on it, I'd put a bet on Nike winning it because I think Nike are the ones with the financial muscle. I don't think FSG were very happy with how Adidas treated us when they tried to renegotiate a new deal last time, and Adidas were laughing at us basically.
Yeah,
They were very derogatory actually, and they actually did come out with what I said. It was, we're not worth the money that we wanted. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
we definitely are now. We
I
was
think
then as well, but
I think Liverpool have always been like if you ever mentioned football, I think Liverpool are one of the names straight off someone's mouth. That's unbelievable that Nike, not Nike, sorry, Adidas ever said that. How dare you? We don't want you as a kit sponsor.
yeah, and I think there's a misconception somewhere. I mean, there's a few Man City fans yesterday saying, is this your second trip in 10 years to Wembley? And I was thinking, well, actually, no, it's our sixth trip to Wembley in 10 years. Do you know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah,
people have got this perception that we've been really, really crap. We've not been great, but we've not been crap.
exactly.
And our fan base, while we've won the odd trophy every couple of years and whatever, not won the Premier League and whatever, our fan base has still grown. How many teams can say that?
Exactly. That is true.
How many
Well,
teams?
you look at Man City. Through their dark days, they had no fans, and now they have all plastic fans. So,
And not many of them either, to be honest.
if
Um,
you look at some of the videos on Twitter, then yeah, you'll know what we're going on about.
no, definitely. It's, we're waiting to. I think we find out in September what we're doing with Vanny Road. I am hearing they're going to allow the original plans to fade away and then redo some new ones. They want it bigger and with more corporate.
Yeah, I think that's true.
And yeah, I think that they know. I think winning the European Cup and seeing all the people on the streets made them think bigger. If you know what I mean.
I think I think winning the European Cup has done like massive things for the club and the actual city itself. Like seeing the parade around Liverpool was just mental. Just seeing images and videos, it's just mental how many people care about this football club. And I don't know if you get this, but you feel rewarded for cheering on this amazing football club.
Oh, it's about time we got rewarded because we've cheered this football club on for a long time and ended up with coming up with second place, or you know what I mean, and still being the better fans on the day, even after the match. You know what I mean? We were still the better fans, even though we
Yeah,
lost. I mean, you don't get that many anywhere else. I don't think. We do have our element of fans that throw the dummy out the pram and start screaming and shouting and blaming players or saying this needs to be done, that needs to be sold. But you've got that in every fan base. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
it's a matter of modern football.
It's one of those, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, as a fan, I'm not saying everyone should go to every game, but you want a chance to go. if you're a Liverpool supporter, you want a chance to go to Anfield to watch a match. And at the moment, with the capacity as it is, tickets are so difficult to get. And unless you
Yeah.
buy off the black market, and you're paying way over the odds, which is ridiculous. You know, it's time now we had a ground big enough to support our massive. To be honest, mate, I wouldn't be happy until we've got over Man United's. I, I think we'd fill an 80,000 door seat stadium easily.
What's the thing for Anfield now? Is it 65,000?
Anfield's 54 now,
54, right? So
and
maybe with
you
a huge extension, then yeah, maybe we could even get over that.
so if they mirrored the main stand at the Dalglish stand,
Yeah, then it would
and
be.
then and did the Anfield Road in the same height, you're getting close to 75,000 just on that. And then you may have to look at making the Kop bigger, because once you've made them stands bigger, you need to make the Kop even bigger.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think I
And
think
have the
they did
Kop
it.
no corporate, all local, all local fans, no corporate. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah,
One big wall of just pure energy from fans. That's what you need to do with the Kop. Make the Kop. I know it sounds bad. The local sale, obviously your season ticket holders first, you know what I mean? Get them, but the rest of the Kop should be local sale. Bang on the day, go on the, you know what I mean? Go to the ground, collect your ticket, go in.
yeah.
That's what I think should happen there. To me, it would create an unbelievable atmosphere. You imagine 80,000 people on a European night at Anfield.
Place would explode.
It, it would be unbelievable. Absolutely
Yeah,
unbelievable.
it would be unbelievable. Like if you take the champion, well, if you look at the uh, images of Madrid, like the fan park, imagine that inside Anfield. That would be mental.
I know there's massive things with the council that have to reopen the train station at Anfield, that have to, probably get new lines. It's about time that it had a train station. The infrastructure needs to be bigger. They need to get more buses on. You know what I mean? Because getting rid of 80,000 people is a nightmare. Uh,
Yeah,
there was 77,000 yesterday, and on the way out yesterday, it was a nightmare. Let me tell you, it was a
yeah.
nightmare.
I bet.
But there was a plan in place there. It's easily done. The club may have to spend some of its own money on the to help out with the infrastructure, but in the long term, the club will benefit from it.
Yeah, I think that can only be a positive thing for the club and well the city of Liverpool. Really, get Anfield packed and well get it to the highest capacity. Yeah, capacity that you can get it. I do agree with that.
Do you know what I mean? Man United have this thing on us, they're bigger crowds. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we would have bigger crowds if we had a bigger stadium. It's held
Yeah,
us back, and and that's down to poor management from owners from the 80s upwards. You know what I mean? The owners in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s relied on the success and never
yeah,
really invested the money into the infrastructure of the ground or anything. And then we had owners that try to do it without spending much money. And then once Abramovich came into and then the oil money came into it all. It changed it changed how things happen, and we just stayed years behind these clubs. You know what I mean? And then all of a
yeah,
sudden FSG come in, get a lot of stick from us fans. You know what I mean? And rightly so, because they made mistakes at the start. But now everyone can see they've closed the gap on these clubs.
yeah,
Liverpool, are moving up a gear. Every year they're moving up a place, they're moving up a gear, they're closing the gap on all the other clubs. It's not going to be long before Liverpool are going to be in threatening the top three clubs finance
yeah.
wise.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that I think maybe you can maybe say another definitely in another 5 years' time, that could probably be a realistic thing. But yeah, so I think we'll call it a day there. I think that has pretty much covered everything today. Thank you, Mickey, for being on this podcast today.
My pleasure.
So let us know in the comments your thoughts on everything we've said today. Leave a like on the video, and thanks for watching.